So, this is a part 2 to the previous video with the novel political theory of how to make third parties relevant. First, though, I would like to take a second to say a couple things. First of all, I'll get the audio quality fixed probably before the next video. Might occasionally appear. It's a factor of my environment, where I am when I'm able to record this. Second of all, I've decided on a name. The name is going to be Political Breakdown. Now, this has two different reasons. It's a double entendre. First of all, it's because I'm going to talk about and break down the state of politics. And second of all, because of my want for a third party to take over, to break down the current political establishment. Could not remember that word from my video, from my previous video, the establishment. But that's fine. I remembered it now. Slipped my mind. So, with that out of the way, let's take a quick look at Democrat states. As I mentioned in the previous video, I would take a look at this California tab, and now I am. So, we all know that California, amongst other states, oops, did not mean to do that, exit drunk. California, like many other states, about 20 or so, are fairly safe in the Democrat column. There's Maine, whatever. And California, there was a total of 17 million votes last time, which means Claudia will have to get, especially because she's not going to take a ton from Donald Trump, at least 6 million votes in the state of California to win. And I know that I will be able to see her win as long as the next year goes right. But let's talk about what she'll need. She'll need 6+ million votes in California. I think it's absolutely doable. I think that her policies are more in line with what California wants than Joe Biden. That is for sure. And, of course, it's more in line with what California wants than Donald Trump. Now, I don't foresee it very likely because we'll still have to get rid of that issue that we talked about in the previous video where people think a vote for a third party is a vote for the opposition, is a wasted vote, whatever their mantra is about it. I think that we can, especially after this election, show that a vote for a third party is not a wasted vote, but a vote to make change. In fact, it's the only way that we can enforce change. And the reason why I say that goes back to a story I recently heard about the election of 1877, or 1876. The president was inaugurated in 1877. So, this election marked the end of Reconstruction. That's because the election was so close, and a deal had to be made so the southern states' electorate would go to who ended up being the winner, Grover Cleveland. Now, to get this to happen, Grover had to promise the end of Reconstruction. He pulled out the troops from the north that were in the south, and there was no longer much of a fight to make equal rights a priority. Now, of course, I am not saying that I like the politics of the Confederate South and the antebellum South and whatever. I am saying, though, that like the South, at the end of Reconstruction, we can use the Electoral College to our advantage. I think it's possible that no major party candidate gets to 270 electoral votes, which is, of course, required for them to win the presidency. So, how does that look? Well, if we learn anything from that example that I have just shared, we might be able to enforce some change as to what those major parties are going to try to enforce when they get into office. So at the end of the day, it's likely that we do not get into office, but we shouldn't not fight. We shouldn't. We should definitely still fight. Because without us fighting, there will be no change. The establishment, which is sort of ruin the lives of not just Americans, but especially Americans. And so, I think it's likely that because of, the votes for RFK Jr. and hopefully the votes from, um, Cornel West or whoever, no candidates end up winning because these states are just too hotly contested. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. All we really need is just one of them, and then the right candidates to win the other ones. But I think it's possible that multiple get caught up in this weird scenario. And I hope that multiple do, because that'll up our advantage in making the change we want to see. Now, I also would like to point out that in the next video, I will try to sway you on which candidate to go for. But at the end of the day, I am just happy if we can make a mandate for more parties in this country. We need more than the two-party system. The two-party system is not cutting it. We've seen that. We know it's not cutting it. For the majority of Americans, it is not cutting it to be a part of the two-party system. Just let's go back to the wrong track, right direction. This is under Biden, but we can definitely find Trump's disapproval. Let's see here. Polls. Let's see. Trump. Ooh. 530. Oh wow, he's also unfavorable by guess what? 10%. That's a pretty remarkable thing. So if we look back here, Biden is also disapproved by about 11%. So as we know, neither of the major party candidates are really that favorable. So why are we accepting this mediocrity? If we have mediocre leadership, we will not have a good country. Our country will not be as good as it can be, as good as it should be, as long as we allow for such division, such unfavorable candidates. And with that, I will tell you that in the next video, you'll see me look at Claudia de la Cruz's campaign website. We'll look a little bit more into her policies, and we'll take a little bit of a deep dive into that. I want you guys to choose who you're comfortable voting with, but I also want you guys to know, and you'll find that it's the same as the names of these videos, that a vote for a third party is a vote for the future. And that is the most important part that I hope you all get from this little series. I'll also go over some other third-party candidates. I'll go over Cornel West. I'll go over RFK Jr. And I'll go over the other ones. Now, you do know my lead. You do know that I will probably give a little bit of favorable coverage to Claudia de la Cruz. But don't let that dissuade you from watching this, because it's still important to know who's out there and what they stand for. Because that's going to be the focus of those two. Of course, I'm going to tell you vote for Claudia. I'm going to be voting for Claudia. It's an endorsement of sorts. But until next time, the political breakdown. This is Evan.